Hi, I'm Cortez.
And I'm Sade.
And we're the Cogshells. In this video, we're going to be talking about our move from St. Louis to Dallas and the stuff that you didn't see in the last video. So if you didn't see the last video, you need to go see it. It just shows behind the scenes of how we packed up, how we spent time with family, even with our church family.
Don't tell them.
I'm going to tell them that. Just go watch the video and then come back to this video. But come back to this video because we want you to watch this video.
Yeah.
But stay tuned.
Part two
of this video. We're going to talk about how God is just orchestrated this whole thing. So let's get into it.
All right. That's crazy. So listen, okay, so it's like remembering everything, but we came in May for our anniversary, and we stayed at we won't say the hotel's name, but we ended up staying at a hotel, and the hotel ended up losing our rental car keys.
Yep. So
when it was time to go, we're like, hey, we got an early flight.
Yeah, it was like 5 o'clock. It was like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning flight. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got up at like 3 o'clock, and we're like, hey, we're ready to check out, and where our keys at? So they couldn't find our keys.
They couldn't. No.
And they basically looked for like 2 hours to try to find the keys. Couldn't find them. So they ended up finding them, and we also ended up missing our flight back.
We did miss our flight. Yep.
Missed our flight back, and so eventually, after going, back and forth with them, because we were trying to decide whether or not they needed to handle the arrangements of getting us back, but it turns out we were able to catch a flight without paying, because I'm gonna tell you now, they were gonna be responsible, because I do not play. They were gonna be responsible for making sure that we got back and paid 0 dimes to get back. But anyway,
Yeah, but you forgot that part. So they end up not necessarily losing. They lost our keys, but it wasn't like a loss like a normal loss, like
can't find them.
It was, guess where it was? It was in the manager's pocket. And the manager, guess what? He was upstairs, and I guess he was standing up there asleep because he was, his shift and everything. I don't know how they're, working out with the hotel work, because the parking is different from.
This is a 4 or 5 star.
Yeah, this 4 or 5 star. It's a third party like parking attendants for valet. So the manager had our keys in his pocket, and he was upstairs asleep. So they ended up calling up to his room, was like, hey. Eventually, this is like 2 or 3 hours past. We missed our flight and everything. He was like, where the keys at? He was like, I had it in my pocket. Like, okay, why is the keys in your pocket?
Yeah, you've been joyriding.
I don't know what it is. To this day, I don't know like why you have the keys in the pocket. Because this should have been in the place where it needed to be with all the rest of the keys.
With all the other keys.
But we ended up finding it out. So we, like Sade said, we missed our flight. But what ended up happening was the hotel ended up giving us a voucher for a free 3-day night stay, and
they paid, and we didn't have to pay for.
We didn't have to pay for valet parking,
and as well, we also didn't have to pay for that stay either.
No, we didn't have to pay for that stay. No, we got a 3-night stay from this hotel. We didn't have to pay for valet parking. They said you can come back, schedule anytime. Just come back and we'll take care of you.
Yeah.
So what we ended up doing, we came in May of 2021 here down to Dallas, and then we came back around September, October ish. No, it was October. It was like the end of September.
It was October because it was during the state fair.
Right, yeah.
And we came back because I basically Southwest ended up losing my bags in August for my birthday.
Yep, we got a
and so
voucher
I
for
was
that.
like, oh, I got a voucher for a flight.
So
I was like, we got a voucher for the
hotel.
For the hotel.
Might as well go back to
Let's
Dallas.
go back to Dallas.
So we went back to Dallas in
Same year.
It was October 2021. Stayed there. You know, they put us in a room, but we ended up getting upgraded to another room, and that was, you know, thank you Jesus, we got upgraded to a higher level in the hotel, and the night was good. I mean, the stay was good. We was able to explore Dallas a little bit more than the time that we had for our anniversary.
Yeah.
And then we were sitting down. I think we were sitting down at the hotel, and I was like, man, I can actually see myself living here.
I feel like we had like that. We were sitting like up on the roof. Is that the time?
I think we were sitting at the roof. Yeah, we sat on the roof. Yeah. And we were looking at the skyline.
Looking at the skyline, like, man, this is dope.
This is nice. I can actually live here. And so we, that was October 2021. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back a little bit because I was the one that was like kind of dragging my feet when it came to like talking about Dallas or moving to Texas
or moving
anywhere. We were born and raised in. I was born and raised in St. Louis all my life. If anybody don't know this, I'm gonna let you know. Charlotte was born in Houston but raised in St. Louis. So she moved when she was an infant from Houston.
I decided I didn't want to live there no more.
Yeah, as an infant, she decided. No, her mother moved from Houston to St. Louis, and she was raised in St. Louis. So that's a little snippet. We might give you quiz you on. We might quiz you on that a little bit later. But born and raised in St. Louis, I'm like, I know St. Louis. I'm used to it. So I was like, this is where I'm going to, I guess, live, raise kids, things of that nature. But I was the one dragging my feet until, fast forward until January of 2022. I just prayed about it, and I was like, man, what's actually holding me back from? We did 4 times. We came to Texas 4 times in 2021. That was crazy.
Yeah, that's probably when my phone was like, hey.
4 times. Man, that was crazy. Back to back to back. That was from May to October, from October to December, and then December a second time because we had to record. But yeah, we came to 2021, and then in January of 2022.
And in December, I wanted to interject on that part. In December, while I was there, I kept dreaming. I had like nonstop dreams about being here, about being in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And I prayed about it, and like I knew specifically that it wasn't going to be Houston. Like after thinking, I'm gonna eventually, move to Houston, move to Texas. I wasn't settled with moving there to that part.
Yeah,
you get
to
what
the
I'm
part.
saying?
Yeah. And I would say this: when you know, what we don't make a decision based off of not just feelings alone, but it's something in our spirits. It's something in our spirit that agrees. When you go to places, like it's just kind of
discernment.
It's discernment. It's discernment, and it's just like you feel an agreement in the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, man, this is the place I'm supposed to be at. So, man, Jesus is man, it's powerful.
But I kept having that dream.
Yeah, you kept having dreams back to back to back to back. Like wow,
it was just over and over and over.
Yep. So you end up having a dream. I think, and then in January 22, I kind of like it was a consecration month, and I was kind of like, man, like I'm like, let me pray about this, because I would drag my feet on like praying about it. Like I'm like, I don't necessarily want to go. Right. I knew that we were going to move. Let me say that.
Okay.
We were going to move, but I didn't know when. So January, I just started praying. Like I just started praying. I was like, okay, and then I just felt like I wrestled in my spirit a little bit, because I'm like, man, I thought my life was going to be here in St. Louis. Like, I thought everything, like, children, our marriage, church.
You thought so?
I thought everything, like, when
that's crazy.
When you in a place like that's why I'm a big proponent about getting out and going places. Mm-hmm. And like, if you need to move, like move. Of course, follow God. Like, if God tell you to move, move. Don't be just based off feelings. Because my move was just not based off feelings. My move was really based off of God alone. Because in my mind, I'm like, man, I want to build a life here in St. Louis. But I don't. I just like, okay, well, I struggle for a little bit. Even the whole month of January, I'm like, I don't know, God. This is something. I just don't. I don't know if this is right, you know.
Well,
but
can I say something?
Yeah.
So I would say for me, it was more of I knew we weren't going to be there.
Yeah.
Because I would have like dreams and stuff.
Right.
So God deals with me in that way. So I knew that we weren't going to. So I mean, this is kind of like the first time you hear, like, man, I wanted to build. Hearing you say, man, I wanted to build my life there, and I'm like, I don't see us there. Like, I kept having dreams like, oh no. Like, yeah. So I mean, I guess, wow, okay.
Yeah, so it's raw. This is a raw.
Wait, you don't have to tell.
It's uncut. It's uncut. But no, that's how. Like think about it. Like I'm thinking about it, like after we've been here for 3 years, kind of like realizing back on. Okay, automatically in your mind, you're thinking like, okay, this is my whole life. I'm planning my whole life out in this place because you're not thinking about moving. That's just like it's just the norm. So that's what was in my mind. Like I thought this was going to happen. I thought that was going to happen. You have all these different plans that you have, but sometimes God he just going to uproot you from some place, and you be like, man, I thought I was going to be doing that, and it's not what you're going to be doing.
I would say a great portion. Sometimes God deals with. Well, most times God deals with spouses differently.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Right.
And so while God deals with me with dreams and prophetically, it's just like, I guess maybe he deals with you just slightly different, and didn't stop dreaming about being here until I actually got here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute, what's next?
Right.
What's next? And even if God tells your spouse something, so I'm thinking like God revealing to me some time ago, I had to kind of basically let him reveal that to Cortez, because in our household he's the head. Right. You know, we kind of traditional in that way, to where I let him be the head of our household, and so I can't be like, oh, I'm gone, and running and doing something different. And I just basically had to surrender to the place that we were, not catch up, but come on, man.
Come on, man. Come on, shit.
We got somewhere to be. We got some building to do. We got some ministry to do. We got some, there's
a lot of stuff to do.
We got some things to do. And God is just like really just getting started with directing us into the path that he prepared for us.
It's I guess, because God deals with me in a different way, like as far as like, I guess I've always been hard-headed. I will just let you know, I'm always been hard-headed about certain things. But when it comes to like things like moves and things of nature, I kind of like, God would just deal with me. Look, he would like have to tell me like, or he would have to tell me, hey, this is what you're supposed to do. Or I feel like an agreement in the spirit, like my spirit agrees. And when we moved here, when I was talking about January 2022, I was just like, my spirit was settled. Like I wasn't fighting or wrestling in the spirit, like how I wasn't wrestling. I was just kind of like, okay, cool. I say, and then I had right after then I had a conversation with our bishop at the time, Bishop Baylor, and I was like, man, this is what the Lord has told me, that we're moving to Dallas, and he was like, well, it was funny because he was like, I was like, Bishop, I need to have a meeting with you, and he was like, okay. So I got on the meeting. We did a Skype or Zoom. He was like, I was like, Bishop, I got something to tell you. Lord is leading us to Dallas, Texas. He was like, man, I knew that's what y'all was. I knew that y'all was called. That's what you was talking about. And I was like, let me back up a little bit, even with that, because I think prior to that, I was like, it was right before the pandemic. This is right before the pandemic. This is 2018, 2019-ish. I think it was the summer 18 or 19. I don't remember. I was talking to I talked to Bishop. I was sitting down with him and I said, "Hey, I feel I want to move to Texas," because my wife was talking about it. I was like, "Man, this might be a good opportunity." And he gave me some wisdom. He gave me some wisdom, and that's why it's always good to honor leadership, especially leadership that is walking upright with God, and that is really men and women of God. Like if you have that, cherish it, because they will give you wisdom. And in that moment when he was talking to me, I didn't quite understand it, but now I do understand it. And a little bit afterwards, I understood it. I was like, man, he was saying, hey, just sit for a second and and wait for a little minute. Other people were like, man, I'm just going. I'm grown. I'll do my own thing. But I really honored our apostle at that time. I honored him. He's still my bishop. He's still my apostle. I was like, man, okay, I'm gonna just sit and I'm just waiting. I took heed to his wisdom. He said, hey, sit here for a while, just wait for a second and be patient. And then I just started serving. I became the worship leader and things of that nature. A lot of stuff had started coming out, and then the pandemic happened. Boom. I was the worship leader, and nobody was in the seats. I was worshiping to a camera, and we was, worshiping to God, but there was nobody in the audience. You couldn't perform. There wasn't no performance. You really have to worship God, like you have to just worship. So that happened in 2020. So I'm like, man, wow. So I just said I just served throughout the pandemic. Just served. No complaints, nothing. I just like, man, I don't want to be here. No, I enjoyed what we was doing. I was like in ministry in the middle of the pandemic while stuff was happening. A lot of stuff was happening during COVID. It was a lot of things. I've ended up losing my father to COVID-19 in November. In November of 2020. Then my grandmother. It was so much stuff that was going on during that time. But I sit and waited. And then when I brought it back up to him in 2022, this January 2022 was like February. I was like, hey, Bishop, I feel that God is calling me to, move and go to Dallas. He's like, well, hey, you got my blessing. You got my blessing from Bishop Baylor and Pastor Marlon. He was like, hey, you got our blessing. We're gonna support you in whatever you do, whatever you want to do. We know you've been sitting on this decision for a long time, and you basically honored us during that time. And so I didn't give them any crap, any I wasn't like negative, or I didn't leave on bad terms.
I think it was more just, and some people don't understand this, but I think it was more of wanting to, it's not quite obedience, but it's more of honor.
Honor and being submissive.
Yeah, honor and being submissive. As him being our leader, our elder, our spiritual shepherd. That was one of the things that, like at the time for me, I didn't quite understand it, and it's something that I had to grow to learn. But Cortez was like, I think right away he was like, like he took heed to the counsel that was given to him, to us. And so for me, I always go against the grain. Always pushing the envelope. I'm always like, how far can I go? Does that mean this?
Right.
So, and that's me every day. I don't know why, but I do think that there's a time and a place for everything. And so with seeing everything that transpired after we were given that, the suggestion of, just staying put for a while and serving in ministry. After that, then like the phone hit the fan.
Right.
So I mean, it's like honestly, it was better that we did stay because like everything that happened with your dad, everything that happened with your grandma, everything that happened like in life in general, we wouldn't have had to support a family during the pandemic. Like we would have been alone here in Dallas, you know, like trying to survive. Like it's just it's almost like a relief that, you know, okay, we were able to still be
in safety.
Yeah. Yeah, because you know, you think about it, we were sitting at home for a month, you know, like
it was for a whole year.
Yeah,
we
like
sitting at home for a whole
we
year.
almost, and then when we don't think about it, but it's like everybody lost a year.
Right. Yeah, we lost
a whole year.
Some people lost 2 years. Like it almost felt like 2 years we were lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we didn't really get out until 2020, 21.
Yeah.
And even then, it was still kind of iffy.
Yeah, and people were still scared.
Right.
I remember going to like a church service, and I asked, were they
socially distanced?
Socially distanced. That person who invited me told me yes. I got there and it was packed, and so that anxiety of, you know, not wanting, you know, knowing what happened with our family and life, and the fact that I felt like it wasn't being taken seriously, I ended up going to the restroom and literally just crying.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for me, it just, I think it was a lot. You know, it was something that we didn't even kind of reflect upon. I mean, I guess it's years later. I guess it may be just going back, like ripping the Band-Aid off.
Yeah, ripping the Band-Aid off. Like you when you sit down and talking about it, you're like, man, all these little things, like these little small pieces, like it's so hard to kind of do, like put everything in one video, but like it's small pieces that kind of make up the whole.
Yeah.
That you like, man, that was a really tough. Like we sat down and we stayed put, and it was a good put because, like you said, if we would have moved here, we wouldn't have it like. We don't have a lot of family. Like I have family here, but it's not like that many. It's like I got one cousin, you got a cousin, then you know that, and then we're meeting family members or people.
We might have more.
We may have more, but we didn't know that in the middle of the pandemic, you can't even meet up with your family during the middle of the pandemic. Like it's like a whole year. So it kind of like it was like listen to wise counsel. The Bible says you listen to wise counsel, like seek it, like seek it. What, you know, if you have wise counsel, like listen to them, like elders, your pastor, your leaders. If you know that they living right, and you know that they praying and they seeking God, like that's why I thank God for Bishop Baylor. I thank God for Pastor Marlon and Fabian Temple, because that's a praying church. So I can only imagine if I just moved on my own feelings. Like, man, you can't tell me what to do. I'm just gonna go ahead and move on. No, stay put here. This is the reason why. And the Lord, it just worked out. Like it was never like I didn't complain. We didn't complain about it. It was just like, okay, we gonna. As Sade, her grandfather used to say, take a licking and keep on ticking. Like we just okay. That's reverence. That's honor. Let's be submissive. It's okay. And so I ended up staying. Pandemic happened. We went through that whole ordeal for that year and a half, and then, like I said, fast forward to 2022, and then to February, I told Bishop, he was like, you got my support. Like, you got my support, and whatever you need, let us know. And so he was cool with it.
And I was actually, during the time he was leading, I was leading worship at another church.
Yeah, Bishop Best Church. I mentioned his name because he played a crucial role too. Okay. Because these people that I'm mentioning, it wasn't just like, okay, this is just okay. This is out of the blue. These people that I mentioned are very critical in our move. Like Bishop Best, she was serving at another church while I was serving. Like while I was leading worship at Favorite Temple, she was leading worship at Bishop Best Church, and she was serving faithfully, every Sunday. going there. Like I would literally lead worship on a Sunday, and then drive over to help her sing or sit in service, and we would do that. That would be every Sunday, almost pretty much every Sunday. And then like towards the end, like we had told Bishop Best, hey, we're moving and everything. He just poured into us.
He did.
Yeah. He poured us to the, and he poured it. He gave us prophetic words and things of nature that to this day, like all that he have said has come to pass. He told us one of the things. I'm gonna let you in on one of them. He said, you're gonna be happy that you moved to Dallas. And you're gonna be happy, and you're gonna be like, this is your you're gonna be saying this. I'm glad I made this decision. And I think maybe a couple other days. I was talking to somebody the other day, and I literally said the same words. I said, "Man, I'm so glad that I moved here to Dallas, to Texas. Like this is probably one of my best decisions I've made." And I'm like, "Dang!" I was like, "That's a prophecy come to pass." Like, wow, you got to be careful with them prophecies because sometimes they'll be coming true. But Bishop Best, I know whatever he says, that definitely comes to pass.
And then there was one time where we were in service, and he said, "What you doing all that worrying for? God'll make stop all that worrying. God'll make it to where when you get there, your house will already be there."
He did say that. Yeah. Man, that's
another story.
So fast forward, because we got to get through this because this video is long. Fast forward to I said about March. It was March 2022. We came back down here because we're like, okay, let's go find a place. We're gonna try to find somewhere to live. And we were just looking around. We're like, okay, we would look at this place. We knew that we didn't want to necessarily move into like buy a house down here yet because we didn't know the area. We didn't know exactly where to live because it was so short notice. Like this is in a 5 month span. Like January, we made a decision. Yeah, we're gonna move, and then we moved there.
Because I was working in the school district.
Right.
That's the best time to move during the summer.
During the summer, you have all that free time.
Yeah.
And then we came down here your spring break. The spring break, and I'm like, okay, man, let's find a spot. Let's look at some areas. So we had a realtor. We moved. My cousin pointed us out to a realtor of hers that helped her get into her house. So her realtor was helping us move around and find some places we just wanted to rent because we were like, okay, we just want to get the feel of Dallas or Texas and see, fill out the areas. We just okay. So we ended up coming here. We visited a lot of places, Princeton, McKinney. It was so many different places. That was a place we visited all these places, but we was like, okay, we actually didn't settle on it. So we ended up there was a place that she had on her under her profile, the realtor. She was like, it's a place here in Forney. It was Forney, Texas. And she was like, well, it's not done. And she showed us a picture. They haven't even put down the driveway yet. The driveways that they had put down the little metal things where you can, the concrete, you can put the concrete down, but it wasn't finished. It didn't have a garage door. It was, you could see right through it. It was just pictures that we was looking at. So like, oh wait a minute, that may not necessarily be ready when we come back here down there. We don't know. So we went back. We went back to St. Louis, not having a place, not secured a place, and nothing at all. We didn't secure anything. So we're like, man, why are we gonna move from? We gotta move.
We technically were stressing.
We were stressing. We definitely were stressing because we like in our own mind and our own flesh. We like, man, how does it gonna work out? Because we don't have a place. Like, where we gonna live at when we get down there? Like, we don't have an apartment. We don't have a house. What are we gonna do? So this is March. April comes around. Yeah. We gotta pack up because our lease is up at the end of April. So we're like, man, we got 30 days to get this stuff done.
So he asked me. Bishop Best ended up asking me, what day do you want? What day are you leaving?
Yeah. He did ask me what day.
He asked me what day were we leaving, and we didn't have a date yet. And like, you think about it, when you're on the spot at church, and the pastor asks you something in front of the whole congregation.
It's like being on a game show. You got to put it off the top of your head.
I was like, April 30th. We didn't have a date. So I was like, yeah, April 30th.
Because that's when our lease was up. We're like,
yeah. Period. I'm like, okay, well, so I said April 30th, and then
we knew, like, I was like, okay, well, we're moving from St. Louis to Dallas. I know I'm not gonna drive no U-Haul. That's not.